Welcome to New Fox Tech. This video, I have made the decision. I'm going to pull the motor and transmission out of the car, off the chassis here. And I'm not rebuilding the whole engine, okay? I would love to. As of right now, I'm not doing that. Things could change. I could change my mind. Depends on what we see. And the reason I'm doing that is, well, I decided to verify if this is a 390 because it's possible the 390 shares a block with the 352 and the 360 FE. I don't want either of those. I want the 390. So took a spark plug out and I measured the stroke of the piston, and I got 4.78, is close to 4.78, which is the stroke of, obviously I didn't measure with anything like very accurate, but you know, a quarter-inch difference. A 352 and a 360 have a 3.5-inch stroke. 390 has a 3.78, which is just over 3/4. So if you're at, I measured 3 3/4, close enough. You know, I mean, with human error, that is 3.78, right? So that's good. That's great. Awesome. I'm very happy about that. But in doing so, having to rotate the motor over, I found out there's no crank bolt. And on further inspection, I can't find a harmonic balancer, which is also not good. Now, I don't know if maybe the harmonic balancer is super thin and I can't see it or not. Don't know. We're going to find out when we pull it out. I'm making like 2 videos at the same time here because I'm going to be doing the chassis, the frame welding, and now I have to, basically, the plan is, guys, I have no room, so I have to get the engine hoist in here, clear all this stuff out, get the engine hoist in, hook the engine and transmission up, get everything loose, pick the engine and transmission up and hold it there, roll the chassis out, get it outside onto the side of the house. So, and then I can bring the engine stand in here and separate the transmission from the engine on the floor, and then put the engine on the stand so that I can then work on it. I'm going to be doing all gaskets and seals except for the heads. I don't want to take the heads off. It might come to that. If I turn it over and open the oil pan and I see some stuff I don't like, then I might be doing a full rebuild. Luckily, guys, the parts for 390s, being that the 390 is much more popular and people actually still work on these things, the parts are pretty cheap comparatively. Now, I rebuilt my V10 in my truck, the Triton V10 2-valve, and it cost me about $2,500 in just parts. And then I rebuilt it myself, so I'm sure a shop would charge much more. Most shops, from what I hear, won't even touch the Triton motors because of the way that they're designed. I just don't want to mess with the heads. They're not leaking. There's no blown head gasket now that I'm aware of. It seems to be fine. And I figure if I have to pull heads in the car, at least all I have to do is take the distributor, the intake manifold, and then the heads come off after the exhaust manifolds. Obviously, it's much simpler. Whereas on my V10, you got to pull the whole front of the engine apart in order to get the heads off because of the way the valves train works on that one. So I got some other plans that I will share with you when I get there. But right now I am draining the radiator. I drained the radiator, the coolant, and there's a trans cooler on here, so I drained that. Well, I disconnected it, and that's all drained. So I need to get started on taking this front frame rad support off. So I'm going to pull the radiator out separate and then the rad support afterwards. So yeah, that's the plan, guys. 2 videos at the same time, basically. Back and forth. It might be a while till this video goes up, or the other video for the frame, so that's okay. Barely anybody watches these anyway, so it's fine. Alright, let's get started. also think it's really good I'm going in here to do this because there is grease on everything. I don't know what is and is not leaking. So at least I have an opportunity to fix that now. Oh, this should be a fun project though. I'm really going to enjoy this. Hopefully these will work. Now, these are metric and this of course is standard, so I need to grab one of them and I need to go to the store and get some long bolts for the stand. I bought these for a V10 when I rebuilt that, so obviously the bell housing bolts are different, so that won't work. Alright, I'll be back when I have them. Alright guys, went to my local Ace and got the hardware I need. They're apparently the bolts are 7/16 14, which I'm going to check right now. That's the ones. Yep. And for what I'm doing, I like to get the flange head bolts, but they didn't have 4-inch, and I know from using this stand previously that I need 4-inch in order to get enough engagement on the bell housing side. So got 4-inch, and luckily these ones are threaded all the way, so that's nice. When I did the V10, they weren't threaded, they're not threaded all the way, so I like that more. Got washers to go with them since they don't have the flange head, so we should be good there. If not, I got a whole bin of washers that I can sift through and find some others. So I'm gonna get this puppy on the stand, and then we can start tearing it apart. I got plenty of time today. Of course, fighting with this in the stand, the legs on the two don't get along too well. So this will be interesting. Plus, I have a lack of space in here right now. So we'll see what I can get done here. Well, I mean, I'm gonna get it done. We'll see how difficult this is to do. I'll tell you guys what, that lift plate, way easier. It puts the engine right in the right position. For some reason, when we were trying to do this with the V10 with Triton, the legs were fighting each other and stuff. We just couldn't get it positioned correctly. But for some reason, this, maybe it's because the engine's so much, it's not as long. Maybe that little bit of length, that 2 extra cylinders not being on there helped it out a lot. I don't know. You'd think that, I would think that that would make it easier, but I don't know. We fought with that quite a bit. This was super easy, so I can't complain there. I'm not ending the video here, obviously. This video is gonna be the entire rebuilding of this end. Well, not rebuild, but regasketing, unless it needs rebuilt. We'll check that. But I'm gonna get cleaned up here, and then now that I got this, I gotta put the engine hoist back where it was. I gotta tuck everything away, and then I gotta bring back, I put a bunch of stuff outside to make room for this, so I gotta bring all that back in here. I'm gonna rebuild the engine right here next to the car itself, so that'll be pretty cool. But let me get everything situated and everything and all that stuff, and I'll bring you guys back. Got all that stuff cleaned up and whatnot. Now I'm ready to start digging in, so I'm gonna do that. You guys can just watch. I probably won't do a whole lot of talking because I gotta try to remember, and I won't. I'll probably have to look back at the video myself, but I need to tear this thing down. Oh, I can't forget. I gotta tear the wonderful oil change that I did. I have to dump all that back out. Anyway, I gotta do that, and that way I can. It'll look. I haven't ordered a single part yet. I will order the parts once I've looked at everything, taken it apart. That way I know I'm getting what I need, and I have enough time. Tonight I should be able to get it all torn apart. That's the goal. That's the plan. So I'm aiming for that. That's what we're going for. I'm gonna get started. Okay, so this is interesting. You can see here it already has a double chain timing set, which is pretty cool. I don't know what it is. I got numbers here. You got a M99 067, I don't know, S410 though. S410. I'm gonna look that up and see what that is. And I don't know, it needs to be replaced. As you can see, this vehicle sat for a while. I don't know if you can see the nice rust that was built up here. That should not be there. If this thing, you know, ran consistently, then that rust wouldn't be there. So that's okay. This I don't know what original looks like, but that's pretty thick, dude. That's pretty cool. I like that. That looks pretty thick in there too. So yeah, that's interesting. There's a lot of play in the crank. I don't know if you guys can see that. Look at it there, and then that might be okay. I don't know. I get concerned. It's very easy to do that. I'm not that, you know, that strong, and I'm able to move that. But all right, guys, that's about it for tonight for me. It's getting kind of late, and I want to go sit down and relax a little bit. But that's as far as we've gotten. That's pretty good for a day to pull the engine and transmission, get the chassis outside, and then start taking this apart, separate the transmission from the engine, then start taking this apart. So tomorrow, I still need to drain the oil. I'm not too worried about leaving that cavity there open. I'm going to pull the pan anyway, so whatever. So I'll see you guys when I get back to it, hopefully tomorrow. We'll see. Probably not. Probably Sunday. So see ya. Alright guys, we are back on the engine today. Now, off camera, I did a little research and a little checking. So I don't have a dial indicator gauge thing that you bolt to something and then it reads the... But anyway, I'm very concerned. I was very concerned about this crankshaft end play. From what research I did, number one, should not be able to move that by hand as easily as I can. There is an audible clunking sound, you know, back and forth when I do that. So that's not good. And so I looked it up, and I used a dial, like a vernier dial calipers, to measure how much movement there was back and forth here on this crank. From the research that I did, the Ford's spec from the factory is supposed to be between 0.004 and 0.01 of play. And I did it twice, and the first time I wrote these down on this piece of wood. The first time I got 0.050, which is not the amount of play, that's where it was. I didn't zero the gauge out, so that's, anyway. Then it moved to 0.082, so that's 0.032 inches of play, which is way too much. And then I did it again, and I got 0.029. So even allowing for human error for me doing this, it is way out of spec. Which means, I don't know how much, I mean, that makes me suspect that there's a lot of miles on this engine. But basically what I'm trying to say is now I'm doing a full rebuild on the engine, which is fantastic. I did not want to do that, but we're doing that. Because, you know, while I'm here, might as well do it right. And like I keep saying, I don't think I said it on camera, but I keep telling everybody in my life, I'm like, yeah, look, I wouldn't, you know, like every time I take something off, there is bad underneath it. And then I have to take that off, or remove that, and then there's more shit underneath that. So I can't not, that means the thrust bearing is bad, more than likely, and I need to replace it. So I need to tear this thing apart completely now, because I want to know if this is Bordeaux. I need to find out if there's been any engine work done to this thing before I go buying rebuild kits, because if you know, I mean, you guys know, If this is a stock motor, I can just buy stock bearings, rings, piston heads, whatnot. I don't really need pistons probably. It's good to look at it. We'll see if there's cross hatching in the cylinders and whatnot still. But basically I just need to know if it's bored over or not. And we'll see. And that also means, guys, I've decided if I'm taking all this off, it's getting full ARP hardware. And I mean main bearings, ARP studs, rod ARP studs, ARP head studs. I'm doing the whole thing because to me, guys, I'm not trying to build a race car here. I'm trying to build a good quality, reliable daily driver that's going to get me anywhere I need to go, anytime, turnkey, doesn't care what time of the day. I want it to run and drive. I'm not going for a race car, for high horsepower or anything like that. I'm going for reliability, which is why I'm not doing any sort of stroker kit or anything like that. Just rebuilt 390, and but I want it to last a long time, so I'm going to overbuild it. The old philosophy of overbuild, so that it lasts longer than me. That's the goal. So that's why I'm going to do full ARP hardware. I'm going to do a performance timing chain set. I think this already has this. I looked up the number. It seems to be I couldn't find any definitive answer, but based off of the S410 number on this cam sprocket, I believe that coincides with a lot of Cloy's performance double roller chain timing sets. So that's good. It's already got one. Of course, this one's, like I said, I got to replace it, so I will replace it. Also, it's good that it's been replaced too, because there's not a. I mean, it's in good shape. Other than it's fine. We'll keep it around just in case I need. We'll keep it for spare parts, all this stuff. But I'm gonna replace it. So I'm gonna go ahead and begin on the full disassembly now of this whole engine. I need to set up a table, I think, or something maybe. Now I'm not going to be keeping. I don't know. I'll lead you through it. I'm going to get it all torn. I'm going to get the valve covers, the heads, the oil pan, the filter housing off, and everything. And I got to drain the oil still. And I'll get you guys. Anyway, just follow along. Just watch. Grab some popcorn and a drink if you're sitting down on the couch, and enjoy the time lapse of me stripping this thing down. Hey guys, so I'll be honest with you, I don't know what the factory valve train looks like or is supposed to look like. I'm not sure if this is factory or not. I don't really know. I don't know what I'm looking at, so I need to I'll show you guys up close here. Let me do that quick, and then I'm gonna look up what it is I'm looking at here. Now there's more signs in here that this thing has been sitting for a while, having rust, on valve components. Otherwise it looks extremely clean. But I don't know if that's factory things. Again, there's rust in there. And I don't know what all this is. There's like chunks of something in there. I don't know. But let me look this up quick, and I'll get right back to you guys. Alright, it looks to be factory, so that's nice. Also, I forgot to show you guys, this push rod here has rust on it too, which is pretty good. Not a concern, really. I mean, I suppose I could reuse them. I mean, if I'm rebuilding the whole engine, I might as well get hydraulic rollers, right? I'll look into that. We'll see what. I'm going to get this intake manifold off now. That would be the next one. Alright, so upon further inspection and a lot of research, I'm using a very inaccurate dial caliper, okay, and it's inaccurate because it's dial caliper, it's not designed for this, but you guys saw me clean the piston heads off. These are bored 60 over. This block is bored 60 over, so then I started digging, because I want to verify that this is a 390, and of course, Ford and their grand better ideas, the casting numbers on the block mean absolutely nothing except, yeah, it's an FE. That's all it means. It could be a 352 or a 360 or a 390 or a 410 or 427 or a 428. It's all the same block and all the blocks. Just, I mean, there's date codes and stuff. But I started digging. So with the stock 390 bore should be three. I can't remember. Okay, anyway, the bores came out to 4.11, which tracks. That's exactly what it should be for a 390 bored 60 over. Should be 4.11, and then the stroke is the standard 390 3.875 stroke. So it's definitely 390. It's bored 60 over. That means I have here a 402 motor. And so then I started looking at the date code, and I used the date code and I researched. This is actually a 1968 Mercury 390. Based on, I mean, obviously it's 3. Now we're going to check the crank when I take the stuff off. There should be a casting number in the crank so we can verify if that's the factory crank or not. These heads have double springs. There's like a secondary thinner spring in there, so that's aftermarket. The heads themselves, though, are just standard FE heads. They're nothing special, just standard. They said it was between 64 and 66 cc heads, which gives me like a 9.5 to 10.1 compression ratio, depending on pistons. It said, I guess the 10.1 would be flat top. These are not flat tops, as you guys might be able to tell here. So it's definitely just probably a 9.5 compression, which is fine. So somebody was trying to build this motor for high RPMs, it looks like, for racing, if I had to make a guess. Also, there's a tag on the side of the block on the other side, which I looked up that indicates that this is a reman. So I'm assuming that the original 390 in this car, because the VIN number, when you decode the VIN number, this car originally came with a 390. So it looks like they must have blown it up or something, and then they got a reman, and it happened to be a Mercury motor, so that's pretty neat. The heads match the block. They are also 1968, like I said, standard passenger car heads. So that's pretty cool. And then, of course, they have that's a Cloy's double roller chain timing set. So somebody was doing something to this thing, trying to make it performance. Of course, all the cross-hatching in the cylinders is gone, and there's vertical scoring. I'm gonna look into it. I don't know. I really don't want to send this to a machine shop to have it bored over. I'm just gonna hit it with the dingle ball hone and hone the cylinders when I put new piston rings in it. Because I'm not looking for super high performance. Like I said, I'm just trying to build a reliable daily. And even if there's a little bit of scoring in there, it should be fine. I mean, this thing didn't even have any blow-by. I checked for blow-by. There's no blow-by, so it's pretty healthy otherwise. You can tell the motor was sitting for a while. There's a little rust in the valley here, and there's rust on different, valve components, valve train components, as I showed you guys. So I don't know, I think it's pretty neat that I have a 402 and not a 390. So a lot of work's been done for me. That's pretty cool. But I'm going to continue stripping this thing down. I want to get to the bottom, and I want to check out that bottom side and see what's going on so that I can get these parts ordered, because I got a lot of ordering to do. I think I'm going to get new push rods. I mean, I'm going to consider switching to a hydraulic roller cam. I think that would do a lot of good for reliability, especially. That's the plan anyway. I want to see how expensive that is. Not that I have any lack of things to do. I have plenty of work here on my hands with all this stuff. so I'm not too concerned about it, but yeah, we'll see. So switching back to the old time lapse here for you guys. Alright, y'all, coming here looking at this bad boy. That is a factory M57HV, which means high volume oil pump. And I've been trying to find it. It says 07 there, and it says USA on this side. And I was looking it up, and it seems like that's just a factory Ford high volume oil pump for these engines, so that's pretty neat. So far it looks good. The rods move back and forth, but that's pretty normal though. They don't seem to have any up or down play. It wasn't knocking or anything, so I'm not too worried about that. It looks pretty good under here. Of course, you know, sitting for a while. Standard rusty, you know, whatever. That's fine. You want rust on your crank. It's good. But other than that, it looks really good. And it looks like there's FOMOCO stamped into that here. I gotta try to find a part number and see if I can't figure out anything about the crank. Alright, so I just pulled this rod bearing. Don't know what, I just picked a random one. As you guys can see here, good thing I checked before I order stuff. If it'll focus, you can see right there. This is a 30. I don't know if it's. There's over and there's under. So I have to do some research, but definitely over it's 30 something. 30,000 something. I'm gonna pull a main cap because I need to see if that's the same way or not. I'll be right back. Alright, got this main cap off, and yeah, there's some scoring on the crank, but it doesn't feel bad, and I'm not gonna worry about it. The bearing, I'm pretty sure that's not supposed to be like that. I don't think the bronze color is supposed to be showing, or the copper or whatever, you know, on either side. A little bit in the middle there too. That's not good. So it's definitely needed to be rebuilt for sure. But this one is 50. I wish it would focus. Anyway, it says it's 50. So, yeah, definitely in need a rebuild. Now that I know what I need, I'm going to go order stuff, and I'll continue sometime later. Alright, so, got the motor torn most of the way down. Checked what I needed to check. I'll tear it down the rest of the way later on, but I think I'm going to end the video here. And I'm going to go order all my parts and whatnot, and then I will continue in the next video then a little bit on the frame and kind of getting further on that. So there's a whole lot of work that needs done on just about everything, but that's where I'm going from here. So I hope you guys enjoyed me tearing this engine out and down, and I hope you look forward to my building of the engine. I've got some things planned, nothing too crazy. So I'll see you guys in that next video. Thank you so much for watching. I'll see you later.